Hey, coming on, Kim?
Welcome to the road, truth on the mic, healing the soul, we rise and ignite. Mind, body, spirit aligned in the flame. War room tribe, we roar in our name. There's a whisper in the silence, there's a tremble in the ground. The walls that stood for ages are beginning to come down. People see the cracks appearing in the stories they've been told, while others hold on tighter to a world that's growing old. Some still watch the stage lights caught up in the endless show, clinging to the comfort of the only thing they know. Though they feel it in their spirit, though they see it with their eyes, they keep reaching for the shadows while the old illusion dies. This is the shift, can you feel it in the air? A change is moving through us, waking hearts everywhere. Though the road is rough and winding and the night seems far too long, we're remembering who we are and we'll find where we belong. The music will play again, the sun will rise once more, and life will fill the empty halls that echoed before. Hold on through the storm, there's beauty still to come. The shift is here among us, and the best is yet to come. The pain around me and the weight people conceal. Some are angry, some are broken, some don't know just what to feel. Some lash out from fear and sorrow, some are frozen by the unknown, while others hear a quiet calling deep within their soul. They know something's changing, though they cannot name it yet. A feeling in their spirit they could never quite forget. So they gather what is precious and they do the best they can, trusting there's a greater purpose hidden in the plan. This is the shift, can you feel it in the air? A change is moving through us, waking hearts everywhere. Though the road is rough and winding and the night seems far too long, we're remembering who we are and we'll find where we belong. The music will play again, the sun will rise once more, and life will fill the empty halls that echoed before. Hold on through the storm, there's beauty still to come. The shift is here among us, and the best is yet to come. With resistance, every season has its end, but every falling leaf makes room for life to bloom again. What was lost can be recovered, what was broken can be healed, when we stop denying what our hearts already feel. No, it's not the end of living, it's the ending of a phase, and beyond the clouds awaiting are much brighter days. We'll rediscover meaning, we'll remember why we're here, and the songs we've long forgotten will return for all to hear. This is the shift, and the dawn
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the War Room. 5 by 5.
Welcome.
Let me get us on the screen here. There we go.
Oh, here you got another good tunes. KVB.
Oh, whatever good like. Welcome, welcome. It is 6/3/26, June 3rd, 2026. A lot taking place, right?
Yes.
A lot of treasonous, weird ass behavior.
Yeah,
Mergers
really
taking
weird.
place. Right? Benjamin Netanyahu wants to thank he, he wants to thank the United States Congress for Section 224 of the NDAA, which would merge the United States and Israel's militaries. Buckle up on that one. That's going to be interesting. So everything isn't as it seems. So that's high treason.
We're already paying them, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're already Israel's bitch doing everything they want us to do. I mean, we bomb whoever they want us to bomb. Whoever doesn't whoever doesn't stand with Israel gets bombed.
It's been like that.
It's been like that for
That's why
decades.
they've been compromised for so long.
So this merger isn't nothing. This is just something that's already been done, but out in the open for everyone to see.
Yes.
A lot for it taking place. Apparently, it's Pride Month. Of course, I'm seeing that online. I didn't know that. You start seeing rainbows everywhere as you
Oh
feed.
yeah, yeah.
It's Pride Month,
I
so
think Kathy Hochul in New York. She said everybody's got to fly that flag now. I don't know. I would have to look back, but it was something to be. Oh, gee whiz, that kind.
yeah. This is from the Jewish Democratic Council of America. Pride is a Jewish value, right? So this isn't. It's only anti-Semitic when you say it, right? Pride is a. If you said, "Man, hey, pride," that's like this right here. Look, here's the hypocrisy, right? Here it is. Hold on, let me pull this banner down. Send away. All right, here we go. All right. All right. Know the work rules. See that at the top? Pride is a Jewish thing. Oh, you're so sweet. And then the second scenario, pride is a Jewish thing. And then she gets on the phone and says, "Hello, human resources? We have an anti Semitic here." It's kind of weird. But then you see this, right? Abortion access is a Jewish value. It's kind of like, with the Christians as well in the church, where they have the rainbow flag in the church
Yes.
as well. So that you have the Christians,
Well, there's the good rainbow, and then there's the right inverted one.
right?
Which pride is supposed to be one of the seven deadly sins, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what
Yeah.
I've heard.
Not supposed to be prideful or boastful, right?
But apparently,
Be humble.
it's having abortion access is a Jewish value. From this is at the Temple of Micah. They're having a largest Pride festival in the Middle East is going to be in Israel. But this is every year though. This is nothing new, and it's anti-Semitic to not let them claim Pride Month, according to Jesus Jones right here. And some weird shit going on, right? That's it for Pride Month. Unless there's, yeah, that's, yeah. All right, so we're talking about Ticking Time Bomb. Talking about that's the name of the show. So we talk about Alpha Gal and the Lone Star Tick
Yes.
at Martha's Vineyard. So they have an outbreak at Martha's Vineyard, and this was about let's see here, 8 months ago. Y'all see that on the screen? Let me show you. This was eight. See this down here? 8 months ago. Alpha Gal syndrome warning in the Martha's Vineyards.
Apparently, the little town of Martha's Vineyard is a hotbed for Lone Star ticks and alpha gal syndrome. So, hundreds of residents in the sleepy little town have found themselves suffering with this disease because of Lone Star tick infestation on the island of Martha's Vineyard. I am hopefully not going to ruin any, probably not enough people are going to watch this to ruin the tourist business in the little town of Martha's Vineyard. But look, this is just more reason to really pay attention when you're outside, when you're in the grass, when you're in the woods, when you're in the fields, things like this. When you're outside hiking, doing things outside, really pay attention. Make sure you're not coming in carrying ticks. Make sure you're paying attention to your pets and animals, and they're not bringing ticks in the house. These Lone Star ticks can carry alpha gal, and alpha gal syndrome basically means you get sometimes very, very serious reactions to red meat and dairy. You can get sometimes anaphylactic level allergic reactions to red meat and dairy from the disease carried by these Lone Star ticks. Anyway, and if you're planning a trip to Martha's Vineyard, make sure you find some really good natural based, not the chemical based insect repellent to help mitigate or lower your risk of carrying some of these blood sucking ticks into anywhere on your body. And make sure you get some natural insect repellent to mitigate or lower your risk of getting any of these blood sucking ticks on your body.
Uh,
Which ones? The real ones or the
I know a few Lone Star ticks that suck blood now. I ain't talking
or the
about the
vampires? Maybe both, huh?
right. Yeah, so this was 6 days ago. A new public health threat is emerging. Uh, Martha's Vineyard Times has the highest tick-borne disease rates in Massachusetts and was among the first areas affected by the Lone Star tick. Why is that?
Right.
Right?
There's something strange
Something
about it.
going on. I think this is linked to
I think
something
there's
else.
yeah, I think so because like that one that you pulled up that I was talking to you about earlier about um 80% of Martha's Vineyard got it. Why would it be in just one spot and they're all wealthy in Martha's Vineyard, right?
Well, remember when COVID kicked off
Yeah.
and DeSantis sent a bunch of immigrants up there on
Yeah.
buses?
Yes.
Remember when
So I
Barack
think
Obama
there's
had his
I think
uh,
there's really
Yeah.
two, but I think there's way more to that.
Yep. There
oh
they
yeah,
are.
Just like that video I sent you about the roller coaster, right? So some people are they're telling you some people are stuck on the roller coaster. Like there's deeper meanings behind these things. Look deeper.
I know what a Lone Star tick is. They've been sucking the blood up for like what, about 100 years now at least. There's only one Lone Star, right? Well, other than Lone Star, Texas.
Yeah, I'm not saying there isn't
Right,
any of
right.
that, but I'm just saying there's deeper meanings behind those. I think those things have been around. I mean,
Yeah, how
that
long have we
like
had
Lyme
ticks?
disease, all that's been around for a while. Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard of Alpha Girl, but
Right.
it probably has been around a while too.
So FDA approves new COVID boosters. Okay, that's for migrants leave Martha's Vineyard for military base. That's 2022. Florida and Texas governors send immigrants to Martha. Remember when that was cool?
Hmm.
Remember when everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we're trolling the libs." Yeah. And they were okay with two governors human trafficking. Remember that? When
Yeah.
MAGA was cheering that on, everybody was cheering that on, except for the Democrats. Democrats really weren't cheering it on. They were actually the people, the Democrats in Martha's Vineyard were ready to get. They opened their doors, didn't they? But then they were ready to get them out of there.
They opened their doors to come out to kick them off the property. They were like, no,
Yeah.
no, you
Yep.
got to leave.
So it's weird. Who did they really? Martha Stewart receives COVID vaccine. Okay, no, that's not.
Yeah. See, alpha gal syndromes first appeared in the United States back in the 1980s.
Oh well, shit.
Yeah, so it wasn't formally recognized and scientifically identified until 2002. So it's been around for a while. The first case was known between 1989 and 1991 in Georgia, right? Then the syndrome
They arrived
was
suddenly and
was identified scientifically in 2002. So it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
And then in 1989 through 1991, doctors in Georgia reported unusual delayed allergic reaction to red meat. Patients often had recent tick bites, but the connection wasn't yet recognized until 2002. So it's nothing new, y'all. It's just a lot of people didn't. I never heard of alpha girl. I
Well,
heard of Lyme
the
disease.
reason why it's news because they got a new vaccine coming out.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, right,
Like coronavirus was on the side of your uh spray can,
right. Yeah,
Lysol can. It was
yeah.
already on there. Like it was nothing new.
They
No.
already put the billboards up at the WWC or whatever it is thing at the White House.
Right? And coronavirus has been known within animals for a very long time, right? Um, and there is no connection between an animal and a human. Carry different, uh, whatever you call it,
Right. So there they
we
are
have different bodily makeup. So
busting them in. Uh, Obama bought a house in Martha's Vineyard, right?
yeah,
During COVID, he partied. Y'all remember that?
yeah.
Cases climb. Brianna's back with more. Brianna?
Liam Obama will turn
So you see how the media can push this and turn it into something big, make it bigger than what it is, and
Oh
just
yeah.
put people in fear, and then get they're all. I'm telling. Watch. How many people tell you they got bit by a tick and they went and got the vaccine? Watch. This is about profits, scaring people over a tick.
Or run to their
It's been
doctor,
carrying shit,
right?
huh?
Go run into the doctor.
That's what I'm saying. They're going.
Because a lot of people got away from the doctors and going more holistic and natural, and so maybe it's a way to get some more money out of people. Also,
outside with COVID protocols in place, including testing for guests, and there'll even be a COVID safety coordinator on site.
Well, now they're going to have to test for alpha gal.
But with breakthrough cases of the Delta variant on the rise, some are questioning if the birthday bash is a good idea. Press Secretary Jen Psaki was asked if Obama is setting the wrong example.
Is President Obama setting?
Anyways, I don't want to go down that. I'm tired of seeing these people. All right, so there you go. Alpha cow. Here it is right here from the Vineyard Gazette. A public. This was May 28, 2026. A couple days ago, New England has long been an epicenter for tick-borne diseases. Today, now I'm not gonna lie, they had an uptick in 2023. I was up in that region. Them ticks were bad. Like I just thought it was like that always up there. And I'm like, how do people live around this shit? How do y'all pick ticks off your ass every day, like in your armpits and then like behind your ear and
uh-huh.
like
And
shit?
all over the dogs. They were all over the dogs.
Like how do y'all do this? I didn't understand. Like I said, today the region is also on the front lines of an emergency public health threat, expansion of the range of the Lone Star tick, and the disease it brings, called the alpha gal syndrome. Alpha gal is a serious allergic reaction to the carbohydrate uh, galactose alpha 1 through 1,3 galactose. It is a spread through the saliva of the Lone Star tick. So, an invasive species now rapidly spreading across Massachusetts and the Northeast. Damn, just like in 2023, guys. Though once rare, both alpha and the Lone Star tick are increasingly common in the region. Is there anybody backstage? Can you let them up, Nadine?
Oh, sure.
Martha's Vineyard has the highest tick-borne disease rates in Massachusetts and was among the first areas affected by Lone Star ticks. Yard surveys show their rapid spread and related diseases have increased. Got it, Nadine?
Oh, it's Dana and Kim.
Yeah, just add them.
Oh, gee whiz, sure.
In 20, in 2020, Martha's Vineyard Hospital, MBH, ran 9 alpha-gal tests. So they were doing this back in 2020. Last year, that number jumped to 1,632 with 724 positives. This year, MBH's Martha Vineyard Hospital allergist has already seen more than 400 patients with alpha-gal, highlighting the rapid impact on the community. The invasion of the Lone Star ticks and the emergence of alpha-gal have far-reaching consequences for the people of Massachusetts, as alpha-gal is life-altering and difficult to recognize. Unlike most food allergies, reactions to red meat can occur hours after eating, often in the middle of the night, making the connection difficult to recognize. Somebody's flipping. Can you mute the? Hold on one second.
Yep.
There we go. Symptoms range from hives, gastro distress, to more serious, potentially life-threatening reactions such as anaphylaxis. A food that was once routine can suddenly become deadly. Damn, disrupting daily life in ways both unexpected and difficult to manage. High disease rates can significantly impact Massachusetts' economy and local communities as tick season approaches. Oh, it's tick season?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know there was a season. Well, I know it
Well,
doesn't come
yeah, when
around
it
in the
starts getting
summer.
warm, and you live near woods.
Yeah, well, they delivered the tick boxes of ticks like what 2 months ago or a month ago.
What,
They
Amazon or
delivered
what?
them. Yeah, they delivered them to the forest. So then the deer get them and the little animals, and then they carry them all over. Yeah.
Right. So as tick season approaches with thousands of seasonal tourists expected throughout the state, awareness of risk is crucial. Our goal is not to discourage visitors looking for outdoor activities, but to provide information so people can stay safe. While treatment and prevention of alpha-gal is still being studied, individuals can reduce risk by using insect repellent, wearing protective clothing, checking for ticks after being outdoors and removing ticks promptly. Raising awareness helps people uh, take preventive steps and recognize symptoms. Public education is currently one of the most effective tools we have today. Additionally, public health agencies, including the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, have raised awareness about Lone Star ticks and alpha gal, and medical providers play a critical role as well. So, at Martha's Vineyard Hospital, we are collaborating with the Mass General Brigham to improve recognition of alpha-gal, support patients, and share emerging knowledge, including through a new research study on alpha-gal. Our experience highlights how early awareness and coordinated action can make a meaningful difference as the science evolves. Trust the science. Yep. So, yes, despite these efforts, prevention and awareness alone are unlikely to curb the rise of Lone Star tick related disease, including alpha gal. So, broader action is needed, including government measures to address ecological drivers such as growing deer populations. As alpha gal spreads, we must accelerate research and strengthen public health systems so clinicians can identify cases early so they can track prevalence more consistently and advance prevention and treatment options. So, with summer about to begin, people naturally wanting to spend more time outdoors, right? And with Massachusetts welcoming visitors in the months ahead, we encourage. I don't think anybody's going northeast.
Right.
You go to the West Coast if you want to go on a vacation because Northeast is getting hit with alpha gal. We encourage everyone, residents and visitors alike, and I'm not saying they don't have these in because I've looked at the map of the ticks, and they're usually in the high population areas on the West Coast. You'll see them in LA. I've
Right.
seen it. I don't know why, but I guess the
Well, they're saying the box of ticks was they did a AI analysis, and that was not like the one with the helicopter. That
uh,
someone overlaid that over the original video about
Oh,
it.
so that wasn't a thing?
They say it's not real, no.
yeah,
And then it went viral, and then people started making videos all over TikTok and
yeah. If
stuff.
you've
So.
seen a box of ticks, everybody would have taken pictures of it or boxes on their
Well,
property.
yeah, like there was a guy that was kicking a box, but he never got close to. He said it's all over the box, but he wouldn't even, he didn't home in on the box to
That's
show.
all it takes is the deers to come from the
Yeah.
woods, deep in the woods into your communities
Yeah,
and around the tree lines and into your yards.
Yeah, and then the little chipmunks get them, all the little animals get them.
Yeah, I think you're muted. You're muted, guy. There you go. Muted.
Yeah, where
There you
I
go.
live, it's just too hot. The ticks aren't going to be here, so we're pretty lucky. We're dry and we're hot, and they like hot and moist. So Nevada, Southern Nevada, we're doing pretty good, but Northern Nevada, we've been hearing reports. In fact, Kristen's, who will be here pretty soon, her son, his best friend lives up in an area called Ely, and he went out in the woods hunting, and he was out in the woods probably 4 or 5 hours. He came back, and he always takes off his coat, and he shook it, and it was just thousands of ticks, and like his clothes were covered. It was crazy. He said more so than ever, and even our own Kim has been picking ticks off of poor Onyx,
Uh,
left and right every single day. We have a lot to talk about today about this
well,
whole.
that's why let's talk about it.
We're
right.
excited. We're excited. I did get some new information, just so you know. The Medical Acupuncture Society has just put out something that basically is saying that the alpha gal has a 96% of remission, which we keep hearing it's completely uncurable. But they say there's a 96% remission with a special, they call it auricular, which is in the ear acupuncture. And that if they do this acupuncture, no drugs, nothing, just acupuncture, it has a 96% cure of remission. And then they slowly reintroduce you to mammal type of foods. So this is pretty promising for anybody who does have it, because they are saying there's 500,000 people that have this Alpha-Gill syndrome. So I thought that was pretty exciting that we now have that. And this was actually published in 2021. So you're right. It's been around a long time.
Yeah. Well, like she said, since the 80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since the 80s, but they didn't make a connection until 2002.
Right. Oh, boy.
Well, they need something that can carry these things. How do you get right? So, is this a natural event, or do you think it's?
I mean, it could, maybe that's disclosure. Maybe they were releasing those things. I don't know, like the Bill Gates mosquito thing,
Right.
right? That was carrying disease. Because think about it. It could be used as a biological weapon
Yeah.
to carry disease, right? So maybe
Well, or
that's
just to sell
disclosure.
another drug. I mean, we know that every time something comes up and there's a drug that goes with it, and we're going to talk
Yep.
about that. We know that, and maybe it's just to sell another vaccine. Let's just
Yep.
put everybody into a panic so everybody gets and I used to hate possums, but possums are our friends. They eat ticks. They live on ticks. They love ticks. So if you've got possums around, no shooting, no killing the possums.
Right?
I
Yeah.
know.
And they say chickens eat them too. So.
Yeah.
Guineas.
Yeah.
Guineas, I think, eat the most.
Guinea, yeah. Guineas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So during the Cold War, the U.S. military conducted research into anthropic-borne biology weapons, including experiments involving ticks.
Yep.
Ooh,
Ugh,
Right on.
crazy,
burn.
crazy, crazy, crazy.
There you go.
Yeah.
So ticks have been investigated as potential vectors for biological weapons, but the evidence linking them to see, Lyme disease outbreaks remains controversial and unproven. But historical context during the Cold War, the U.S. military conducted research into what I just said, biological weapons, including experiments involving ticks. Declassified documents suggest that operations such as Project 112 and Operation Mongoose involved the release of pathogen ticks, including radioactive or disease-carrying specimens, to study dispersal and potential incapacitation effects on humans. So this is a big test. They're releasing them and then they're seeing what effect it has on us. So the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, located near Long Island, New York, bred large numbers of ticks for research purposes, coinciding geographically with the first recognized cases of Lyme disease in Connecticut in the 70s.
Hmm.
Yep.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this. You hear a word that you never heard before, and then the next thing you know, everybody's saying that word, and you're thinking, "Did I miss this? Was I just not hearing this, or is this something new?" And I kind of think the same thing might be going on with this tick thing. We know that there are tick problems, but everyone I have talked to in the Midwest, including Kim, including my sister, including lots of friends that live in the Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan area, they're all telling me the same thing. More ticks than they've ever seen before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced that in 2023 when they had that outbreak up there in Ohio
Yeah.
and the Northeast just a few years ago. I'm telling you, it was bad. I was like,
But they
is
had
this
a
normal? I'm like, is
longer.
this normal?
They had a longer winter. Didn't you say they had a longer winter where
Because I've
there
been
was a
hunting
lot of snow
before.
and then it melted?
Huh?
So think about that. We
I've
must
been in
be
the
real
woods
moist
before.
out
I
there.
picked up a couple ticks here and there, but not like we were picking up every single day in Ohio. It
Yeah.
was pretty bad.
But we did go into the woods.
Yeah, but we
Right.
went
Well,
all out
I
there in the
think that's
woods.
the whole thing. You go where they're habitating, and of course you're going to get it all over you. But
Well,
Right.
not necessarily. I've been in nature all my life, and the first tick I ever got was when it's probably only about 10 years ago, and nothing until I might have had one last year in the woods, but I've been bombarded with them now, and haven't really been in the woods either. So
yeah, and I mean, we've got some cool stuff tonight to share about this. This is pretty cool. I'm loving that we're doing this. But look at this. I think this was Kim that sent me this. I don't know if you can see this, but look at the mouth of this dog, and look
Hold on one second.
at the tick going into his gum line.
Oh, damn.
I mean,
I
that's
see that.
terrifying. That is terrifying.
Oh, hell no.
Gross.
I know. Oh, is right. Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, that kind of got me too. I was like, ugh, yuck.
So not only do you check your mouth now, you have to check your perineum too.
Oh, you have to check everything. Yeah, you have to check around their tail, around their anus. I mean, all that. That's where they go.
I'm not talking about on the dog.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I know. You have
Yeah.
to. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes, Kristen.
You
Yes.
gotta bend down and look up.
It was very difficult. I'm like, oh shit, what was that? Something just got me. And I'm like, no, I'm imagining it. And it did it again. I'm like, oh no. Ripped down the pants, went up the leg.
Uh-huh.
Not a mirror.
Oh,
I'm like, yep. There was a tick there.
oh my.
Yeah, there's another. So y'all go ahead and take it up. Y'all got it.
awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Again,
Hey,
thank you.
Kristen.
Hi.
Kristen's trying to sneak in and not say nothing.
Trying to be
Welcome,
nice
Kristen.
and
Welcome. Glad to have you with us tonight.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Well, let me get the important things out, or the necessary things out. Again, thank you all for having us tonight. We appreciate everything that you all do and enjoy all of the information that you put out and the time that you spend. And so our goal is our pets' health. However, we need to stay healthy to care for our critters. Whether it's a dog, a cat, a horse, a rabbit, they depend on us. We are all about health and our furry family members and their parents. We specialize in mushroom support, mushroom therapy. Our flagship mushroom product for animals and human is the Coriolis versicolor with over 400 medical studies. It gives support to the immune system to aid in the most minor and condition and the most catastrophic condition. These are not cures, not treatment. It does not heal anything. We are not giving medical or veterinary advice. The immune system gets the support that it needs and then goes to work. And now let me introduce Diana and Kristen. Diana is certified in pet and human CBD and in holistic pet care. Kristen is certified in mycology, and they are both certified in pet nutrition. Diana.
Kim, I appreciate you so much. But before we get to the tick information, I just want to follow up on the last couple of shows. We talked about our mushroom weight management. And, you know, we have said all along that we believe that wellness should be shared and it should be natural. And we focus on mushrooms in many, many different ways. But we talked last couple of shows about the GLP-1 craze. And so I just want to give you guys a couple little updates. First of all, I don't know if you guys have been watching, but this is driving me nuts. All of these ads, I don't know if you can see it. I want you guys to look closely at this ad. What does she have in her hand? Okay, it's like, here, take this GLP-1 shot. And she's got a milkshake and a donut in her hand. And every one of these ads that you see are like this. This one's got a big old bagel in her hand. I had one with an ice cream cone. But, you know, we said the last time we talked, we said, watch. All these side effects that we're seeing with the GLP-1, they're going to start coming out with vaccines to counteract the main side effects. And look at this one that just came out. Are you feeling like this on Ozempic? Well, if you take this, you can feel like this. I mean, look at it. Is that crazy? Look at this. It's already
like a big pharma commercial.
Exactly. It's already started. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. So we're going to just give a real quick update on how we're doing with the longevity pack. We've introduced this longevity pack. If you don't know about it, go back and look at some of the last shows that we've been on talking about it, or email us at sheepdogspets@gmail.com. We'll send you the protocol. We'll send you everything you need to know about it. We are having unbelievable response and success with this. Myself, I was losing an ounce a week for the past, 6-8 months. And without changing anything except going on this, I lost a pound the first week, a pound the second week, pound the third week, pound the fourth week, 2.5 pounds the fifth week, 0 pounds the sixth week, and last week, 1.75 pounds. So it's definitely working. And Kristen has tons of testimonials. So we're happy to share those as we move on. But one of the things that happened, I think we touched on this the last time we were on, the WHO has announced a very big warning on these GLP-1 type of treatments, that the suicide rate amongst these people is 45% higher, the suicide tendencies, than if they were not on it. If they're on an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety drug, that number goes to 150% or 300%. So this drug that is supposed to make you feel better about how you look is actually like making you want to kill yourself. So it's like, really? Oh, it makes me crazy. So enough about that. We do encourage everybody to look at our longevity pack. We do have it discounted to $239 for a month supply for a 200-pound person, or a 2-month supply for a 100-pound person. So you can kind of do the math. So yeah, let's move into the flea and tick season. So a couple little things. So to identify if there are fleas and ticks, and we're going to kind of separate it. We're going to talk about ticks first, but fleas and ticks kind of the same way in the beginning. If a dog is scratching or biting their skin unusually or more, or you see them itching, it is probably a flea bite. It could be a tick. If there's red areas, hot spots, flea bites can cause irritation, which really is discomforting for an animal. I don't know about you, but I have been bitten by fleas, and it's just like crazy. So if your dog is changing his behavioral, if he's licking or chewing an area, you want to make sure that you really, really look. Now, you have to really look hard to identify if your animal has fleas or ticks. So you want to check in the high risk areas, in their paws, between their little toes. There'll be tons of them in there, under the tail. Those are places in the ears, around the ears, where they will be hiding. And you want to use your hand, feel for small bumps. And the biggest key is the minute you find it, now what do? If you leave the dog and come back, you may not find it again. That's the good thing about ticks, is they don't move around once they've burrowed in. So it is important. I know, do you have your little necklace on, Kim?
Of course.
Kim has a tick necklace. I mean, that's brilliant. You ought to market those, Kim, because Kim finds she's been finding a lot of ticks on her dog. She keeps hooked right to her neck so she can grab it and get those ticks. So that's brilliant. I think you got a whole new marketing campaign.
And I'm going to add something else to it. Those little tiny little bitty scissors?
Yes.
I need to cut the hair around after I found it, because then I've gotten the tick out, but then I wanted to come back and put some stuff on that bite, and then I can't find the bite. So I'm going to put some scissors on it.
That's really smart. So now you're going to be wearing scissors and
I'm walking around like this.
There you go. You'll be like, who is it? Flav the Flav that had the big
Flav. She'll have like a Swiss Army knife necklace.
So when you find a tick, you definitely need to remove it. And it's really, really important that you don't use the old wives' tales of burning it with a match or putting petroleum jelly on it or nail polish. That's what we always heard. The problem with that is, if you do that, especially if you squeeze them or you suffocate them, you can cause the tick to release all of the stomach bile in their body into the pet or the person. So a tick puller or a pair of tweezers, but a tick puller, they're $5 on Amazon. Have a couple of them. I mean, I've never had a tick once on my dog. I have a tick puller in our house and in our RV just in case. But it grabs it and pulls it out the right way. Now, the next thing is, what do you do with that tick? Do not throw it away. Do not kill it. Do not put it, if it's probably already dead if you pulled it out. Do not put it, down the toilet. Put it in a baggie, or some people suggest taping it to a little card or piece of paper and stick it in a baggie. Because if health starts to deteriorate for the animal or to the person, you can take that to the veterinarian and they can actually test what was in that particular tick. So it is important that you keep them. I know that sounds really weird, but you definitely want to do it. It's just a proactive thing, it's like that. You don't have to have them do the testing on you. They're already going to be able to test the tick as to what's in the tick. You want to use soap and water to clean the area very gently, and something like iodine or witch hazel afterwards, something non-alcoholic that's really going to burn if you use alcohol. You want to encourage the animal not to scratch. You want to encourage the person not to scratch. But we've got a couple of products that we're pretty excited about that we have said, we really didn't think about this when we were looking at this whole tick thing. But the longevity gel has interleaf aloe vera in it, and you can put this right on the bite, and it's really going to help to be soothing as well as healing. Also, the Calegna oil in the Body Balm Plus will do the same thing. So these two products are great to have on hand that you can actually treat the bite area, and it's very soothing and it will help so much. Now, we are learning more and more about the immune system with ticks and all of that. And there are definite studies that are showing that the immune system really needs to be strengthened and strong. So again, all of our mushroom-based products for the animals will be helpful. The mush puppies, the mush ponies, the mojos, all of those things. And Kristen's going to talk a little bit about our food too when we get to that. I'm going to go into a little bit about flea and ticks, and then Kristen's going to take over and really hit hard on this alpha gal. And we're pretty excited about it. So fleas and ticks and heartworm. Fleas, you know, it's interesting. They do carry heartworm, and we know that. And it is a very, very big concern for the animals in the areas like Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina, Alabama, Arkansas. They are found in every single state, and they do transmit heartworm, and heartworm can be fatal. But then you have this whole thing of, do I get the heartworm preventative? Do I give my dog this drug? Well, you got to do the math. Only 1 in 89 dogs get heartworm. Cats have an unbelievable preoccupation in their body to not get heartworm. They're not a good host for the heartworm, and the immune system of the cat, here we are back to the immune system, actually can get rid of the worms because the worms are not thriving in a cat's body like they do in a dog's body. So that's pretty amazing. The treatment for heartworm is really scary because it actually has a 15% death rate for the treatment. So now you've got heartworm, which can kill a dog and is usually fatal at some point. But if you get the treatment, that can even be 15% fatal. It's one of those things. I really think, Kristen and I were talking the other day about being proactive instead of reactive. The side effects of these heartworm preventatives are so bad. They're kind of like the GLP-1 thing. It's vomiting, diarrhea, lethargicness, neurological symptoms. I mean, this heartworm treatment that they encourage you to get for your dogs, first you have to be tested, because you can't take the treatment if they have heartworm. So they spend the money on getting it tested, find out it doesn't have it, and then they put you on that preventative. And it's just horrible for the animal. And, it's a really tough one. I'm not in an area where there's heartworm or fleas. I have to say, I don't know what I would do with my animal except for douse it with everything I could douse it with naturally to keep it from getting the fleas and ticks. And so I'm going to turn it over to Kristen. Kristen's going to go into a little bit more of the deep dive with the alpha gal and how this all works and what we know. I mean, Kristen, they started talking a lot about it in the beginning. I don't know if you were able to get on, but about how it's been around for a lot of years. But go ahead and let's hear from you, Kristen. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, first I want to talk about the Lyme disease, because this is something that I'm beginning to see so much more. I run into so many people who are dealing with that or have family members that are dealing with it. And what's so challenging about the Lyme disease that comes from the ticks is that these bacteria develop a biofilm around themselves that's really hard for the immune system components to break through. And so that's why it's such a big challenge when it presents itself, especially if it's been brewing in the body for a long time and it's had the ability to develop these thick biofilms around them. So not only do you need that extra immune support so that the body can, or the immune system can go in and start killing the bacteria and removing it from the body, but also one of the elements that it uses to develop this biofilm, one of the main elements, is actually the sugars that are naturally in your body. So if you reduce sugars at the same time as increasing the immune support with the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, then two things are happening. It's not able to build those thick biofilms around itself, and then the immune system can actually break through, get in there, and deal with the bacteria head on. So it's kind of a twofold thing that'll really help you accelerate your progress if you do both things at the same time. Now, this alpha-Gal syndrome is a very serious health hazard for people. And what a lot of people don't know is that most animals, like dogs, already have this molecule in them, this alpha-Gal sugar molecule in their bodies. It's something that they already have. Humans don't have this. So if you have a tick that's been feeding on an animal that gets this alpha-gal sugar molecule into their system, and then they start feeding on you, there's a good chance that those molecules will then enter in your body and it will be injected into your own body. And because we don't naturally produce this molecule, our immune systems flag it as a threat, and it actually begins to create antibodies against it. And this triggers what we know as alpha-gal syndrome. And it could potentially be a life-threatening allergy to red meat like beef and pork and lamb, and even mammal-derived products like dairy. So it can be pretty serious. Now, I do have people asking, what about my dog? I'm afraid my dog's going to get alpha-gal. Well, dogs are not primates, so their bodies already naturally produce and contain the alpha-gal sugar molecule. It's already a normal self-antigen inside of their body, and so their immune system doesn't recognize it as a threat. So you don't have to worry about that for your dog. But you do need to be concerned about it for yourself. And because a lot of ticks like to use your dog like a hitchhiker would, they can bring them into your house, and then that puts your family at danger of being exposed to this molecule and getting this very serious syndrome. It's a real thing. So there are a couple of natural things that we recommend. Of course, we love to do as much as we can naturally and try not to use any chemicals, anything synthetic for ourselves or our pets. So there are some homemade repellents that you can make. The first is just an apple cider vinegar and water mixture in just equal parts, and you put it in a spray bottle. You could also use neem oil. You could diffuse a few drops of the neem oil with a safe carrier oil like coconut oil, or you could even mix it into your dog shampoo, but that makes it a little bit harder because you can't reapply it as often when it's in a shampoo as you can when it's in a spray bottle. You can use lemon spray, where you boil lemons in water and you let it steep overnight, and then you strain the liquid into a spray bottle, and you can do that. Now, the thing with the pet safe natural repellents are they're natural. Yep. So they don't last as long as the chemicals. So if you do go that route, you do have to continually spray them. I recommend every hour, every 2 hours, you just want to respray them again yourself. If you're outside in an environment, you want to repel, spray yourself quite often. The good thing is it's natural. You can't do it too much. Yep. It's not going to hurt you. And so that's one of the ways that you can really keep those ticks from coming into your home and maybe infecting someone in your home. Now, there's also dietary additions that act as repellents. For example, when you use garlic in really strict moderation, it creates a smell that comes from your pet's skin that the ticks don't like. Now, large amounts of garlic can potentially be toxic for dogs. So you just want to use small amounts. For example, we have our Sequoia freeze-dried food, and that has beneficial amounts of garlic in it, just very small amounts in it. And so that can help to act as a natural barrier and a natural repellent for ticks because they just don't like the way it smells. Also, brewer's yeast, a small spoonful of brewer's yeast added to their food can also help reduce the flea attraction particularly. And then another thing you can do in your yard and in your home to minimize the effects is you can go to any garden center and you can pick up nematodes and spray them in your yard. And if you don't know what those are, they're microscopic organisms and they eat the flea larvae in the soil, and it doesn't harm your pets, it doesn't harm your plants. So it keeps the flea population from growing and getting larger in your own garden, in your own yard. So you can just spray those around your garden. You can use diatomaceous earth, the food grade diatomaceous earth. You can sprinkle it on your carpets, in your pet bedding, in all of the dry yard areas. And what this does is it dehydrates and it kills the adult fleas and ticks. Now, when you are laying it down initially, you do want to wear like some type of mouth covering, like a mask or something, so you don't inhale the dust as it's being spread. But after it's initially spread and it settles, you're fine. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And then another thing you can do are cedar wood chips, like using cedar mulch in your landscaping, because ticks and fleas hate the smell of cedar wood. So the more that you have in your yard, you're literally creating like a force field. They don't want to come near it because they don't like the smell of it. So those are some physical repellents that you can do from the outside to kind of prevent interaction or contact from the outside in. But there are things, like Diana said, that you can also do from the inside out in case contact is made, because it takes a while for these infections to develop, for these syndromes to spread, for these diseases to take root, whatever it may be. It takes a while. So the stronger your immune response is at the point of contact, the faster the bite marks heal, and the faster the skin is repaired and recover, the better it is, and the less chance you have of these different things taking hold in your pet's body or even in your own. So that's why we say there's no reason to live in fear when we're using what God has given us naturally. We're eating the right functional foods that are helping our bodies, protecting us from the inside out against all of these unknown infinite number of things that they're introducing to us, right? We don't even know what the next one will be or when it's going to hit, but we don't have to be afraid if we're eating the right foods to help our immune systems function optimally. So when your pets are taking this Coriolis versicolor mushroom, especially from the mycelial phase like we have it, so if they're taking the special sauce or the mush puppies or the mush ponies, or if they're eating the freeze-dried food or the canned food, they're getting this Coriolis versicolor mushroom into their body. And it binds and it activates all the macrophages and the natural killer cells. So these are the specialized white blood cells that hunt down those foreign invaders. So if a tick bypasses all of your external repellents and then they decide to transmit those dangerous bacterium like the Lyme disease or whatever it may be, a mushroom-supported immune system is structurally better equipped to mount an immediate defense to suppress the infection before it turns systemic. And the same thing for you. And on top of that, the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, it acts as an immunomodulator. So it balances the immune response. So it helps reduce the production of the pro-inflammatory cytokines. So that protects your pet's internal organs and joints from taking any structural damage while the body is clearing out all of those tick-borne bacteria. So there's so much that we can do to be proactive and to be preventative. And it's so much better because I know people that are spending hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Once these things take root in the body, it's lasting for years. It's just an uphill battle for them. And it's just countless expenses and the stress of it all and the trauma of it all that it takes. And so we're encouraging people, get this. Every pet, every person, every day should be on this Coriolis versicolor mushroom to give the body the best defense, the best chance at defending itself against these little parasites and these tiny little things that want to come and destroy our lives. It's crazy how something so small can wreak so much havoc.
Well, we know that the body has the ability to rid itself of foreign invaders. We have seen proof of that many times. I have a couple questions for you, Kristen. The first question someone asked is, how do you know if someone has Lyme's disease? What are the symptoms?
Well, there are a lot of different symptoms. It is kind of considered almost like autoimmune. And let me just pull it up because I know some of them, but I want to pull up all of them so that you don't miss anything about it. Like my sister got Lyme's disease when we were really young. And the way that we knew that she had it was because she developed a rash in the area. And this is really, really common. I'm looking at the stats right now, and 70 to 80% of the cases, you develop a rash that almost looks like a bullseye. And it was pretty large. Like it got to be like almost a foot. I feel like it was like a foot.
Oh my gosh.
Radius. Yeah.
Where was it on her body?
It was on her leg.
Wow.
And it was after a camping trip. And so we saw the rash and, you think, oh, bug bite, whatever. But then a lot of times you start to develop flu-like symptoms. So you'll get fever or chills or maybe a headache and aches in your body, muscle and joint pain. And some people even get swollen lymph nodes, not just near the bite, but anywhere in the body, because the immune system starts like jumping into action and then the lymph nodes start swelling. And then it can get pretty bad from there. Those are just the beginning symptoms of it. If it's untreated and the bacteria really starts spreading through the bloodstream, you start seeing multiple rashes appearing across other parts of the body. People get facial paralysis like Bell's palsy. They get neurological symptoms like neck stiffness. I remember my sister had really bad neck stiffness.
Wow.
Headaches, radiating nerve pain, heart palpitations, irregular heartbeat. Their eyes get issues like vision blurring and eye inflammation. And then what my sister dealt with later in life as she got older is it actually causes early onset arthritis. It's called Lyme arthritis. And she was young. She was, goodness, in her late 20s when she started to get the Lyme arthritis, and they thought it was scleroderma. And they were pretty much telling her, get your affairs in order. And that was really scary for her. She had kids and everything. It causes neurological issues later on. And this is months to years after the bite. If it goes unresolved. So it's a pretty serious thing. And it's very challenging, like I said, because it's not just about getting the immune support. You also have to work to break down those biofilms so the immune system can get through and get to the bacteria. So I really encourage people, if you know someone with Lyme's disease, have them reduce their sugar intake as much as possible. If they can ultimately like completely eliminate sugars for a while, you know, at least the processed sugars for a while to it incapacitates them. It's like they're not able to build these little cocoons around themselves anymore because we've taken away the raw materials that they need. And so then the immune system's like, yeah, it's weak. And then it can get through and it can go right in and get the bacteria.
Well, you know, and it's just like we all know it's been proven that sugar feeds cancer. Yet when you go into the hospital and you're a cancer patient, the first thing they do is hook you up to an IV with dextrose in it and fill your body with sugar. It's like, really? So, Kristen, a couple of other questions. You and I had this great conversation about, you know, this push for lab-grown meat.
What a coincidence.
Okay, so like, tell me how you feel about that with all of this. And I don't know if you were on earlier when I showed a study from 2023 where they had a 96% remission rate of people with alpha-gal just by doing a acupuncture in their ear. They were able to get people to be able to eat meat again, slowly reintroducing it to their body. It's a study that came out in 2023, I believe it is. 2021, sorry. Pretty interesting. But go ahead, tell me your feelings on the lab-grown meat and how that plays into all this.
And you brought up a very valid point. That's why immunomodulators are necessary, not stimulants, not boosters. You need an immunomodulator because what causes the problem is the immune system gets confused. And it starts producing these antibodies and attacking something that it thinks is like a foreign invader. And then that's what develops the allergy. So if you can help to modulate the immune system and it no longer starts attacking that molecule, then you'll see a lot of these symptoms that we're experiencing will naturally dissipate. But you know, and it's all just speculation. I have no proof of anything, but it's just uncanny, the timing of everything that we know that we've heard reports of boxes of ticks being found on farms and not knowing where they came from and how they got there. We don't know who brought them there. We don't know what their purpose is, what it's for. We don't even know if they're just natural ones or if they've been bioengineered somehow. We don't know anything. We have all of these questions. But it's so strange that this alpha-gal concern is really popping up. More and more people are experiencing it, and it's becoming more known at the same time as there's this push for the lab-grown meat and these synthetic meats, and you know, Beyond and Impossible or whatever they may be, right? It's just like uncanny, the timing of it all, that everybody's developing meat allergies, but then not everybody, but you know, some people are developing meat allergies through this tick bite, and then at the same time it's like, don't worry, we have this.
Don't worry.
We have bugs in our food now.
That's like that burger at Burger King. It's not meat. Y'all notice that? I ate one and I threw up.
Yeah.
Like,
What's
it's
that?
a number 5.
It was
They actually took that hamburger and sat it aside, and 3 years later it still looks just like it did then.
Oh yeah, the
Mold
McDonald's.
wouldn't even grow on it. Mold wouldn't even grow
So that's a good point that you're making with the lab-grown meat. That is a really good point
Yeah.
because that, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what are
I mean,
the odds?
I don't think there's any accidents. I mean, this is not an accident.
Well, one thing that we've learned, at least by now, is to observe everything and ask questions and think critically and look for patterns and look for timing. And that's one thing that I'm so grateful for. All of these things that have happened that have been tragic and scary and everything, but really they've been incredible catalysts for waking us up and encouraging us to be more involved and participate more and be more critical thinkers. And so I'm grateful for that. So now, as these things are happening, instead of just being like, oh no, this is happening and being victims, now we're going, wait a minute.
I just read a report in Ohio that from 40 cases last year to 2,800 cases in the last year, Ohio's Lyme disease surge is real, and tick season's already breaking records this spring. So, I mean, from 40 cases to 2,800 cases, that's crazy. And you got to wonder, is this all so that we can sell more lab grown meat? I'll just say it. Is it all so that we can make a vaccine to take care of it? I don't know. Kristen, have you heard anything about vaccines being created for this?
No, I haven't, but it wouldn't surprise me because, especially look at our pets, right? Look at their schedule. For how long was it one rabies shot when they were little babies and then maybe a booster 5 years later, right? Maybe. Yep. And it wasn't even required. So that's 2 in their entire lifetime is what was recommended. And now they get 16 just in their first year of life, and then 6 that they're supposed to get annually for all of these things that they may or may not get. And some of these things that they're getting, immunized for, which it's so funny. It's called an immunization. It's almost as if like we had an entire system that was developed for immunization. Like, But, all of these things that they're getting immunized for, many of them are survivable, and they're able to get to the other side of. So you're just sitting here going, so I'm going to definitely 100% inject these things into my pets' bodies for something that they may or may not get. And then if they do get it, they may or may not survive. But I'm 100% putting I don't even know what into their bodies without knowing any of the long-term results or the long-term ramifications. I have too many questions about it. So who knows? Maybe this is another, solution that they're going to be providing for us to solve this big problem that maybe was intentionally created. We don't know.
Well, Bill Gates has said forever, and so have many other people, get rid of the cows, get rid of the cows. We have too many cows, they're ruining the climate, and because they're fluctuating and all this stuff we've heard for how many years, it's like this just kind of plays right into it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
It feels like that a lot. Sheepdog, what are your opinions on that?
Yeah, with the cows?
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting here looking at it right now, like because the ticks bite the meat, right? Are the ticks getting on cows?
Well, yes, they are on cows, mostly on deers. But I read a report recently that they are on cows too. Don't know how that affects the cows, but I just know that there's been a big push for us not to eat red meat, not to eat cow meat.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. Is this just a big circle that we're watching happen?
Right. And there's a lot that comes. Oh, man, this is pretty deep.
There's so much.
They're trying to Lyme disease and alpha-gal, the connection no one wants to talk about. You talk about red Roundup, meat, ticks, Pfizer. It's all connected.
Well, they remember that the New World Order was for us not to eat meat either.
Right. Yeah.
So
and be happy.
And right. I mean, they were gonna push us not to eat red meat to save the planet and all the animals and stuff, right? So.
And the boxes that are being found on the farms, what's on a farm? Cows, are they trying to infect the cows and make them sick and then we eat the cows?
So I think there's something else. They're maybe blaming it on the tick, but I think it's something else.
Yeah.
And it's just, and there's
usually something behind that.
Like Dr. Robert Malone right here, he did this video 2 weeks ago, and he says it's the poor man's nuke. I've heard that before. Oh. Why do they call it the poor man's nuke?
Oh.
Let's listen to this real quick. I don't hold on one second.
Sure.
Let's see what he's got to say here.
Ticks as bioweapons?
Yes, it's actually in CIA documents that have been declassified. For instance, infected ticks were deployed from C-130s flying low over sugarcane fields in Cuba back in the day under President Kennedy. There is abundant evidence of the testing, field testing of infected ticks and other insects in a variety of settings in the United States and elsewhere. Clearly, USAMRIID was involved, and in particular, the Plum Island facility that had been a biowarfare investigative facility up in Manhattan, Long Island region, and then was transferred over to USDA, was involved in a lot of this research. It also involved infected mosquitoes, and deployed infected mosquitoes and a number of other things. And the one that, I mean, with this AI-driven investigation that I ran through as part of our efforts to develop new systems for verification and monitoring of the Biowarfare Convention, what this uncovered that I hadn't been aware of was the release of a large number of Lone Star ticks that have been radioactively tagged in Virginia. It appears that that was responsible for the introduction of Lone Star ticks along the eastern seaboard that have now migrated north of the Mason-Dixon line. So there's a lot.
Wait, radioactive ticks being dropped into Virginia by our government?
Absolutely, as part of a project in the 60s to look at the ability of these modified insects to disseminate geographically. And it appears that that's the origin of the Lone Star tick infestation that we now have along the eastern seaboard. It also appears that that Army research involved development of ticks that had multiple pathogens, and the appearance that those modified organisms found their ways into the eastern seaboard, potentially through animals crossing over to Plum Island and then back onto the mainland.
Wow. Well, and Kristen, we know that you have to go. Do you have any closing words? I just found out about the cows. I'll go into that in a second.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, I'm so grateful for you, sheepdogs and Nadine. And I'm just so grateful that you keep your eyes open and your ears open, because I think the most important thing that we can do as a community is just keep learning, keep being curious, keep asking questions, and then sharing with each other what we're finding. That's the way that we're going to be able to push back and turn this around. And so I'm just so grateful for everything that you do for us and how you help keep us educated on all these topics so that we can be aware and we can, really change the way that things are being done. Because the only reason why it continues is because we continue to comply with it, whether out of ignorance or just not wanting to deal with it, diffusion of responsibility, whatever it may be. So I think all of us, like, actually standing up and not complying with it anymore and doing something about it is really turning the tide and making a huge difference. So thank you so much for letting me come on and share our hearts with you guys.
Thank you for coming on and sharing all that wealth of information between. Thank you, all three of you.
Well, I just pulled up the cow thing, and it said that the cows are really common carriers and common hosts for all different types of fleas, including our ticks, including the American dog tick, the Lone Star tick, and the invasive Asian long-horned tick. Haven't heard of that one yet, but it's basically saying that there is something called cattle tick fever, which is kind of interesting that I didn't know about. So, I think Kristen brings up a good point. We've all been kind of raised. I was raised as a young child thinking, well, if something goes wrong, the government's going to be there to help us fix it. Really, that's kind of how we thought back then. And it wasn't until, you really start deep diving and looking and saying, well, they might be there to fix it, but they caused it, right?
Yeah. They're not going to fix it the right way.
Right. So we do appreciate you guys so much. We just want you guys to know we are so thankful for you, but we are also thankful for this community, because this community is wide awake and they're sharing information. This video of tonight, this is like, you can share this with anybody. Share this with your friends, share this with your family, share this with all of your friends on the East Coast. They need to know what's going on. This is not something that we can, sit back and just hope that it remedies itself. We've got to take some action to protect our fur babies and ourselves. And I just saw the one about no more cow tipping. We used to kip cows in Ohio, so that is a real thing. Cow tipping was a big thing where I grew up. So yeah, but I guess I don't want to run into a cow anymore because I don't want to get a tick on me. But anyhow, thank you guys so much. Please email us at sheepdogspets@gmail.com. Kim and I answer every single email. We're happy to share with you about our longevity program. There's one thing that I didn't tell you tonight. I don't like to recommend products because, we don't want to be liable for a product, but there is a product called Wondercide. I am very fond of this product. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it anywhere. It's an all natural. Lemongrass is the one I like best, but we had a really interesting experience with it the last couple weeks. I am one of those people that if there's a crowd of 100 and there is a mosquito or a horsefly or anything, it finds me, bites me, and I swell up, and I sometimes even end up in the hospital. I'm very, very allergic to any type of bite like that. I sprayed my body with my dog's Wondercide. We were out at the lake and we've been seeing some horseflies and they make a beeline right to me. It was like I had a Star Trek force field around me. Everybody was commenting on it. The fly would come, everybody'd be laughing, here it comes, because horseflies are big. It would get about 3 feet from me and literally stop and turn and go the other way. It was absolutely crazy to watch it. It actually became like a game. Like we were like, here comes a horsefly. Let's see what happens. Right towards me, turned, stopped, went the other way. So these things do work. But like Kristen said, you have to apply them often and all over the animal before it goes out, as well as it worked for me this week. I was blown away at how it just kept those horseflies away from me, even when I was in the water. So thank you again. If there's anybody that needs any help, please reach out to us. Go to Sheepdogs Pets. Kim, do you have any closing words?
I do. I want to recommend a lint roller. When you come in, you roll yourself and your dog, and you can, the kind with the sticky tape on it. Yep. You can get some ticks off that way if they haven't latched in yet. I have heard amber will kind of protect you. I don't know if that's true or not. Yeah. So I've got my amber on too. And you can also take like packing tape and put it on backwards where the sticky side is out and put it up your leg or something like that. So if they start crawling up your leg, you can catch them that way.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Around like your ankles and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And a sad little story of a friend of mine who has just a tiny little farm, 10 acres here. She was out in the yard. She found a baby bunny rabbit that was not moving very quickly. She went over to it and it was covered in ticks.
Oh.
And she said the poor little thing died in her hands.
Oh.
So yeah, they can got too many of them. They can kill you.
I didn't even realize that they would go to rabbits, but why wouldn't they? Yeah, I never even thought about that.
Rabbits, squirrels, mice are big carriers of them. I've heard that you can get little, you can put, I can't remember what the stuff is, but you can put some of this stuff on like cotton balls and stick it in the toilet paper tubes and place it around either in the house or outside, and they will get that cotton and take it back to their nest, and then that would kill the ticks that they may have carried in there. But yeah, they get on rodents and everything, squirrels.
Well, rodents, I've definitely heard of that. But well, anyhow, thank you for that, Kim. And, good luck with you and Onyx. I know you've really, really had a rough tick season this year where you are, you know, let's just keep being diligent. And I know she's hard to find the ticks on because she's black.
Yes. Oh, and another thing I did after that initial trip to my brother's, where I think I've got most of those ticks, and we didn't even go. It was just like in his yard, and he mows his yard. So I was shocked that there was that many. My head just itched all the time, and I could feel all these little crawly things. And I'm like, I washed my hair, and then it was still itchy. Well, I got some of my shampoo and I added all these essential oils to it, and then I washed my hair. And I'm telling you what, it worked like a charm. My head has not been itching again. So,
well, I can't. As we've been sitting here, I've been doing the same thing. I'm starting to itch.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel everything that's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like, even though we don't have them here. Mr. and Mrs. Sheepdog, thank you guys so much. We hope that this was informative. We're excited to keep following up on this. And we look forward to seeing you guys again in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All the wealth of information. We thank y'all. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see y'all in a couple more weeks.
Yes, you will. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kim. All right, so we have a couple of things here. We got guinea fowl as a tick defense system. Guineas. Did you know that?
That's what she was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the Japanese knotweed, right?
Japanese knotweed.
Right.
Yeah, it's knotweed.
Yeah, that's for the Lyme disease. They did a study at John Hopkins, right? So
Yeah,
At least the
I've
herbal
been looking
introduction to
into
the herbal.
You guys remember going through the health food stores and they have these things called Boiron? It's Boiron. They're the little balls, and they there's one for relieves insect bites, relieves irritability, itch, intolerance, with intolerance to noise. So there's like different things that these are all good for, and they're kind of a little weird, which is good. I've been trying these suckers out because they were free at the health food store. So
that's cool.
They were going to be expiring, so I just took them, whatever. And I figured, it's worth a try. Anything that we can do that's natural. There's Coffea crudella. It relieves sleeplessness with mental hyperactivity. I haven't had to do that one yet.
No.
But it's good to have a cure for it if it happens. But it's one more thing, because I remember seeing these little things a long time ago, and then it just went for my head, and then something comes back into your sight, and it's like, oh, all right, yep, it's time to look into this again.
Those are homeopathics.
Yeah. And I looked them up. Like, I look up each one to see what the dose is, but usually it's 5 of the little balls under your tongue 3 times a day. But you have to look each one up to see what the dosage is, because they don't tell you on the bottle. I think that might have been my thing, because I was like, okay, it doesn't tell me, so I probably put it to the side because I wasn't a researcher back then. So I was like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, you use them for a lot of different things, but this other one relieves insect bites. Lead them. Yeah, it's good. It's one more thing in our toolbox.
Right, and then you also have a drawing saws that draw out when you get bit.
Right.
Draw out poison.
So you got Japanese knotweed. Right.
Yes.
You have, I think we talked about this one, cat's claw.
Capsule.
Reishi. The mushrooms right there. See that? The mushroom known for exceptional immune modulating. We have turmeric and rhodiola.
Yeah.
And ashwagandha.
Yes.
All right.
They're all real good for it.
Also, yeah, go ahead.
The other article was talking about what triggers the alpha gal, and guess what it is? medications, and vaccines.
Right
Right?
here. Where's it at?
Go down.
Yeah, because there's something else going on
Keep
here.
going.
Okay, keep going down.
Down past the video.
Yeah. What can trigger alpha-gal?
Yeah, see, it's
Yes, the CDC clearly states that alpha-gal can be found in drugs, vaccines, and products containing these mammal ingredients, as well as in meat, pork, beef, rabbit, lamb, venison. They all can trigger a gal syndrome, just like the ticks. Man.
so people
So
don't think
ingredients
about
that
it.
may contain alpha-gal include gelatin,
Yep.
bovine serum and extract, which is heavily used in vaccine manufacturers.
See, different gelatins and bovine extracts highlighted on the vaccine ingredient list.
Yeah. Magnesium.
They're in the ingredients.
Right here. We click this.
No, I'm just pointing that out. It's some of the ingredients in the vaccines. Right? They use organs too, sometimes like kidneys and stuff inside the.
They're a bunch of sick and twisted people doing this.
Yeah,
Holy crap. How do they live with
See,
them?
like that bovine serum is heavily used in vaccine manufacturers. Magnesium stearate is also found.
Yeah, the cobra venom. I saw that
And
before.
You're right.
Cobra venom.
Yeah.
Other medical products such as pig or cow heart valves, surgical mesh, monoclonal antibodies, cancer drug, sexumat, and Harapin. Yeah, so there you go.
So that's what I'm saying. I think it has something to do with
Could be
these
multiple
vaccines.
Yeah. What's this?
That's just a video that shows how the vaccines contain cow protein.
Yeah.
Triggers the alpha-gal.
This brilliant little device keeps any room ice cold all summer and toasty warm all winter with zero installation.
Do you want to stop your ear ringing in a week?
Oh my
Here's
God.
the perfect
Come on.
drink to silence that hissing.
Wow.
If you notice your ear.
In 1996, the UN said they would use food as a weapon. And now they've told us they're going to ban humans eating meat. But how are they going to do it? We've now discovered that many modern vaccines.
That's what Kristen was talking about earlier.
Yes.
The lab-grown meat
Yes.
seems to be the solution. Hey, that's problem, reaction, solution.
Which they've already been using because they found it in like Campbell's soup, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been using that, but it's creating these issues for us.
And the Moderna and Pfizer shots have a bovine protein in them that then creates an autoimmune response in those that take the shot so that many of them can no longer eat beef. Ladies and gentlemen, it's in the literature, it's in the documents. The plan to poison the food supply isn't coming. It's here by poisoning us to where we're allergic to beef. And that's just the start. This is the total weaponization of the food supply. This is how the globalists are making their move.
I'll share that out.
Yeah.
We'll share this article. Let me put this in the chat. Y'all want to watch that?
But yeah, go look at the ingredients in vaccines, and it will tell you. They've used aborted cells. They use kidneys from different animals, right? So think about that. They probably put a mixture of all sorts of stuff in vaccines, and then we can have a reaction to that, right?
Yeah. Let me put this in the chat. That link right there. Here we go. Paste. All right. That's shared out. Let's go to this.
CIA had developed Lyme disease as a bioweapon and put it into ticks, and then magically it just got out, and fucking that's where all the Americans got Lyme disease from. Well, now they have also bioengineered some other fucking tick-borne shit, alpha fucking whatever. But the Lone Star tick, this tick with this little white spot on its back, if you're bitten by one of those, you're going to become allergic to beef and then you can't eat beef anymore. And then the only thing you're going to be able to eat is Bill Gates's lab-grown 3D printed meat. That's not meat. It's actually just cancer cells. So you just have to eat fucking Bill Gates's cancer meat. Now, because I'm one for solutions, I'm going to share this with you. These little fuckers right here, that's called a guinea hen. They ain't domesticated for shit, and they're fucking about dumber than Kamala Harris. They are literally retarded. But what they do is they all pair up, they march in a line like soldiers, and they clean sweep your property of ticks and bugs. I've been keeping guineas on the farm here for fucking years. They commit suicide all the fucking time, though. I'm down to 4. I'm hatching some more right now. I like to keep the number about 10. I've seen them range up to like a half mile away from the farm. They come home most of the time, but these little fuckers with the white heads, and they will clean sweep your property like soldiers of ticks. I haven't even seen ticks on any of the other animals ever since I got those guineas. So if you got fucking acreages and room, get yourself some of these fucking guineas and save yourself from the fucking bioweapons.
Get some guineas.
Right. So yeah, I think they, like I said, this alpha gal, the Lyme disease. I think they've been doing that for quite a while. I know of several people that have Lyme disease, and they've had it for years, and horrible side effects. Right. So they've been doing this for a while.
Yeah,
And
Operation
what else have
Mongoose.
they been doing?
Man, you
We
know
don't
what?
naturally.
Well, there's a
get
long
sick.
list of everything they've been doing.
Right. I
That-
think they give us
We're like an
stuff to make
experiment.
us
They
sick.
release shit on us to see what happens.
Right. Right.
So Operation Mongoose is America's secret insect warfare program. Y'all can go look that up. This is from Forgotten History. This goes back right here.
Yeah, that's a good channel there.
In the mid-1970s, doctors in the small Connecticut town of Lyme began seeing patients with a baffling illness. Children developed severe arthritis while others suffered neurological symptoms that physicians struggled to explain. For decades, the disease was treated strictly as a natural outbreak, yet the geography raised uncomfortable questions. Lyme sits on the northeastern edge of Long Island Sound, not far from Plum Island, and within reach of facilities that once supported the United States biological warfare program during the Cold War. During the Cold War, both superpowers invested heavily in biological weapons research. Fort Detrick, Maryland, served as the center of the American program from 1943 until President Richard Nixon ordered its termination in 1969. Among the many areas of study were insect vectors, which researchers examined as potential delivery systems for pathogens. The program expanded during the Kennedy administration following the failed Bay of Pigs invasion. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy and Attorney General Robert Kennedy authorized a covert campaign against Fidel Castro known as Operation Mongoose. Plans developed through Fort Detrick's Special Operations Division included a range of unconventional sabotage ideas, including poisoned cigars and contaminated diving equipment designed to target the Cuban lever. What was Operation Mongoose? What role did insects play? What was the ultimate objective? And did it really happen? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History.
Beginning of the toughest 26 days in Marine Corps history. With confidence in our armed.
All right, and this all goes all the way back to Cuba. And what's in the news? Cuba, right?
Right.
See how everything's coming back around?
Yes.
We're in a loop.
Full circle.
There we go.
The United States maintained an active biological warfare program from 1943 until 1969. During that period, researchers examined several potential delivery systems for pathogens, including insects that could spread disease among enemy forces. The program was built around Camp Detrick in Maryland, later known as Fort Detrick, where the Army's Chemical Warfare Service established its Biological Warfare Research Center in 1943. Field testing took place at locations such as Horn Island in Mississippi and the Dugway Proving Ground in Utah. Fort Detrick eventually became the primary site for the Army's Defensive Biological Research Program after offensive work was terminated. One of the earliest demonstrations of insect-based delivery systems occurred in 1954 during Operation Big Itch. The test followed earlier Japanese wartime research conducted by Unit
Big Itch.
731 in occupied Manchuria, where insects had been used to spread disease.
Operation Big Itch.
Big itch.
Big Itch.
Big itch. Like you itch something.
Disease among civilian populations. During the American experiment, the Army released approximately 670,000 fleas from cluster munitions to determine whether the insects could survive aerial dispersal and seek hosts on the ground. Military reports concluded that the test showed insect vectors could cover a battalion-sized target area and disrupt operations for extended periods. Tick research also developed during the Cold War. Work connected to Plum Island off the coast of New York involved the study of various tick species and their ability to carry pathogens. Investigators later reported that some experiments were conducted outdoors, which created opportunities for contact between test animals and local wildlife. Entomologist Richard Indris maintained large colonies of both soft and hard ticks on Plum Island, collecting specimens from locations as distant as Cameroon in Central Africa for study. Wildlife regularly moved between Plum Island and the mainland. Deer were known to swim the channel while birds traveled freely between the island and the Connecticut shoreline, creating pathways between laboratory research and wildlife. Cuba's alignment with the Soviet Union led the Kennedy administration to approve a covert campaign designed to weaken Fidel Castro's government. On March 13, 1962, the Department of Defense provided a status report on Operation Mongoose to Brigadier General Edward Lansdale, who was coordinating the program. That same year, Defense Secretary Robert McNamara authorized Project 112, a classified program that expanded U.S. biological weapons testing during the Cold War. The program scheduled 134 tests between 1962 and 1974 and included facilities capable of producing large quantities of insect for research, including mosquitoes, fleas, and ticks. Some proposals examined the possibility of dispersing disease-carrying insects against agricultural workers. The concept involved infecting laborers in Cuba's sugarcane and tobacco fields in order to disrupt the island's economy. The idea drew attention later because U.S. military biodefense and entomological research during the Cold War did study insects as potential carriers for pathogens. Decades later,
So it would be a war crime to attack them, the food supply, but they get the workers, and then they get sick.
Yes.
So therefore, they dance around the war crime thing.
Right. And then they blame it on something else. It's the cows, or it's the whatever carried it, but it's them that infected it, that gave it to the cows, that gave it to it. See what I mean?
Right.
Decades later, some investigators speculated that tick-based delivery systems explored during that era might have contributed to later disease outbreaks. Lyme disease itself was identified in 1981 by Dr. Willy Bergdorfer, who discovered the bacterium Borrelia burgdorferi, named after him, was responsible for the illness. Scientific evidence indicates that Lyme-related bacteria existed long before the Cold War, with genetic studies suggesting their presence for tens of thousands of years. What has been alleged is that the military, working with the CIA, released 282,800 radioactive ticks, as well as ticks carrying Lyme disease, as part of a suppressed co-infection research project used in Cuba. One operative interview told researchers that the strangest thing he ever did was drop infected ticks on Cuban sugarcane workers, using C-123 transport aircraft flying nighttime missions, almost skimming the surface of the Caribbean to avoid Cuban radar. He also said the deployment was canceled when Cuba's shifting winds made accurate payload delivery difficult. After returning from Cuba, the operative stated that his CIA commander advised him to burn all the clothes you took to Cuba, burn everything, out of concern for possible contamination. He later reported that his 4-month-old son later developed a life-threatening fever requiring hospitalization, which he believed might have been connected to the ticks. These operations included maritime insertions and exfiltrations of sabotage and intelligence agents, strikes on economic targets such as sugar mills, radio propaganda broadcast from Swan Island, and deception operations. Some investigators believe these activities continued for decades. Between 1966 and 1969, the U.S. military did release 282,800 ticks marked with carbon-14 across sites in Virginia along bird migration routes. The radioactive labeling allowed researchers to track the spread of the ticks with Geiger counters over several years. The Long Island Sound region experienced an unusual rise in tick-borne diseases beginning in 1968. That same year, the first eastern U.S. human babesiosis cases appeared on Nantucket, and Rocky Mountain spotted fever was identified in the Cape Cod region. In 1970, hundreds of Rocky Mountain spotted fever cases were documented on Long Island, along with the first 51 documented Lyme arthritis cases in Old Lyme, Connecticut. It should be noted that before these experiments, Lone Star ticks were not found above the Mason-Dixon line. Within years of the Virginia releases, they had established populations on Long Island for the first time. What became known as Lyme disease was first recognized as a distinct outbreak in Lyme, Connecticut, and that was during the 1970s. Later, scientific literature describes the disease as first clinically recognized there in 1976. The National Institutes of Health summarizes this discovery as the key breakthrough that established Lyme as a bacterial disease spread by ticks. However, many believe that Lyme disease was created at either Fort Detrick or Plum Island and subsequently escaped, though that theory is not supported by the evidence. Even experts connected to early Lyme research and the Department of Homeland Security have rejected the Plum Island origin claim. If the disease was not created in a laboratory, the question remains whether it may still have been explored as a Cold War biological tool. One analysis noted that by the 1990s, the eastern end of Long Island had by far the greatest concentration of Lyme disease. The same study observed that if a circle were drawn around the region of the world most heavily impacted by Lyme disease, the center of that circle would fall near Plum Island. Another argument maintains that an extensive investigation based on declassified government documents and previously suppressed scientific research uncovered evidence suggesting that the U.S. biological weapons programs contributed to the emergence of Lyme disease, which now affects hundreds of thousands of Americans each year.
Wait, is that little spot? Did y'all see that on the tick? It's back. Go back there.
Programs contributed to the emergence of.
See the little? Is that the white dot?
Yeah, it's a little yellow spot. Some are different colors. I think they have red, a white, and a yellow, I believe. There's different ones.
Kind of
like a spider does, like a
widow.
Like widow does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lyme disease, which now affects hundreds of thousands of Americans each year. On October 21, 1996, Cuba alleged that a U.S. registered aircraft released biological material over Cuban territory and later linked the event to a thrips palmy infestation affecting agriculture. Cuba brought the accusation before the United Nations through the Biological Weapons Convention process. The United States denied the allegation and stated that the aircraft had been on a narcotics-related mission to Colombia and had crossed Cuban airspace with permission. The dispute became a formal diplomatic confrontation, but no conclusive public proof has emerged that the United States conducted a biological attack. In 2014, researchers discovered extensive unpublished materials in the garage of Willie Bergdorfer, who was deceased by that time. The materials indicated that Bergdorfer had identified a second pathogen known as Swiss agent in blood samples taken from Lyme patients in Connecticut and Long Island during the late 1970s. Testing reportedly showed very strong reactions to Swiss agent, yet the finding was not included in Bergdorfer's landmark 1982 study that identified the Lyme disease bacterium. The suppression of this research for more than 40 years may have contributed to treatment failures reported by some chronic Lyme patients. Dr. Jorge Benash and Dr. Alan Steer, co-authors of the 1982 study, have since acknowledged that Swiss agent research should be done because public health concerns warrant a closer look. The controversy surrounding the omitted findings later became known as the Swiss agent cover-up. In late 2025, Congress directed a Government Accountability Office review through the fiscal year 2026 Defense Authorization Law to examine Cold War-era research involving tick-borne pathogens. Lawmakers were pressing for answers. Representative Chris Smith introduced an amendment requesting that the GAO determine whether the military had ever experimented with ticks and tick-borne pathogens. The investigation describes what some interpret as a pattern of concealment spanning 6 decades, including the suppression of medical research and the release of the nearly 300,000 radioactive ticks across Virginia in experiments designed to track how disease-carrying insects might spread. In 2019, the House of Representatives passed an amendment requiring the Pentagon to investigate whether the military experimented with ticks and other insects regarding use as a biological weapon between the years of 1950 and 1975, and whether any were released outside of any laboratory by accident or experiment design. The program's existence was categorically denied by the military until 2000, when a CBS News investigation forced official acknowledgement. Documents later showed that the program involved every branch of the U.S. Armed Forces and intelligence agencies, with testing sites spanning multiple countries. Project 112 had been denied for nearly 50 years, despite extensive documentation, and Swiss agent research had remained suppressed, despite public health concerns. Congressional investigation requirements were strongly resisted by the Department of Defense, while surviving documents related to the program remained classified long after the original security justifications had expired. Questions suggesting possible laboratory origins were often characterized as conspiracy theories. Well, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Even the Department of Agriculture, which had been involved with Plum Island operations, maintained that Lyme disease was never a topic of research at Plum Island. But that claim was challenged in 1993 when Newsday uncovered classified documents showing that biological warfare research had taken place at the facility. The latest analysis compared 3 laboratory leak investigations: the U.S. Lyme case, Chinese SARS-CoV-2, and COVID-19 origins, as well as Spain's recent African swine fever outbreak. According to that analysis, each case displayed similar patterns regardless of the political system in which it occurred. Investigators pointed to obstruction of inquiries, restricted access to evidence, and institutional resistance to outside oversight as recurring features. Critics also argued that officials promoted alternative explanations that diverted attention away from laboratories conducting high-risk pathogen research. Some investigators believe these responses helped sustain decades of uncertainty surrounding several disease outbreaks. Even now, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is analyzing roughly 30,000 blood samples from people suspected of tick-borne illness using modern molecular techniques. The work could potentially validate Bergdorfer's suppressed Swiss agent findings decades after the original research. Lyme disease continues to affect hundreds of thousands of Americans each year. Whether its emergence was purely natural or influenced in some way by Cold War biological research remains a subject of great debate. What is clear is that many of the programs surrounding insect-borne pathogens remained hidden for decades, leaving unanswered questions that investigators are still trying to resolve. Thank you for watching this episode of Forgotten History. If you liked what you saw, please click like, share, and subscribe.
There you go. Forgotten History.
Channel.
Here is the channel. Let's go to it.
And subscribe.
All right. Let me share this in the chat. Copy link. Forgotten History. Here's the channel.
Yeah, he covers all sorts of stuff.
Here is the channel. There you go. Go click like and subscribe. A lot of good content there. Brings back some of the things you may have forgotten over time. You know how we get amnesia, right? But you just need a little something to remind you how far we've come. Let me put this in the chat. Comment. All right.
I just found my Homer Simpson, because I kept on seeing Homer Simpson with that meme. It's like, look at me, I don't believe in conspiracy theories because my government loves me.
Oh yeah. Right.
There you go. There's that in the chat. There's a link for the YouTube channel, Forgotten History. Get you some guinea hens. Get you some Japanese knotweed. Also, Redacted covered this topic as well, bioweapon. It's got a lot of great interviews on there. A lot of different channels are talking about this weaponization, turning ticks into weapons. Congress blocked this tick bioweapon investigation twice. It's finally passed. Why are they everywhere, bioweapon? Why bee stings and ticks are weapons? The one we just watched was about Operation Mongoose, America's secret insect warfare program. This goes all the way up to Canada as well. Dr. Robert Malone talked about it. Former bioweapons contractor, we weaponized ticks to create a poor man's nuke.
Pardon my ignorance, what is the disease you described, the other one? Rickettsia?
It's a rickettsia. It is the same organism that causes Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and that's the most deadly tick-borne disease in the United States. It also was a germ that was being weaponized by the U.S. military at the time, and they tried to stuff it in ticks. I mean, so what is tick weaponization? So in the interviews with Willie, what he said was, I spent over a decade in the biological weapons program, a contractor to Fort Detrick, working on weaponizing fleas, ticks, and mosquitoes, trying to mass produce them, stuffing fleas with the plague, stuffing mosquitoes with deadly Trinidad virus, and then stuffing ticks with either deadly or incapacitating diseases like relapsing fever, Venezuelan equine encephalitis, rabies, leptospirosis, which is another spirochete. So it's just like Dr. Strangelove trying to make new diseases, mixing bacteria and virus in ticks with the intent of, this is the perfect stealth weapon. It's poor man's nuke. You drop these insects on an enemy, it weakens the population, it ties up the medical resources, but doesn't destroy infrastructure like a nuclear bomb would. And in one report from a bean counter in the military, they said, tularemia, which is tick-borne tularemia, also rabbit fever, we can kill 10,000 people at $1.33 a life.
Damn.
So anyways, it was just, there was more to tick-borne diseases than we realized, and I began suspecting that Willie was right, given this context.
Yeah.
How much? $1 something a person? So it's a lot.
$1.33.
This is so evil. It's hard to believe it could happen in the United States. But I think you're right that it did, and maybe still happening.
Yeah, Fort Detrick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Fort Detrick, a lot going on there. in Fort
Ticks. Watch that
With
thing.
the
The tick thing
military.
is nuts. Yeah,
especially
because of mate, because of gay. Crazy. And ticks. Watch that thing.
Say that again, Miss you.
Military industrial complex, right?
Yeah, MIC. KEY. MOUSE.
Crazy. And ticks. Watch that thing. The tick thing is nuts. Yeah, especially because of mate, because of Gates. Well, there's Bill boxes Gates, not people Matt. are finding. I don't know if this is true because I've seen many reports on it, but I'm just going to say what I saw. That farmers and ranchers are finding boxes of ticks on their property. Now, I don't know if that's fake. I don't know if someone's setting that up to pretend they found these boxes of ticks, but there's videos of these people finding boxes of ticks. Now, what they'll say is they'll probably say they're sterile ticks and that we're planting them out there so we can diminish the population, is what they'll say. But anytime they try to mess with the balance of nature, it never goes right. Is that what they're saying? This is No, where just you get hearing ready. that from? That's what you you're think? getting it right here. I don't believe you have a right to go to someone's property and drop off sterile ticks. No way in hell. That's crazy either way. But I have a good friend of mine who got bit by the Lone Star tick and has that alpha gal problem. Yeah, a guy came out of my house yesterday looking at putting gutters up at our house. And that guy, he said, and I said, you did what? He goes, yeah, I can't eat any meat produced by a mammal. Yes. I was like, yeah. So my buddy, he had it, and my friend Evan, so he had it for a little while, and then he did a bunch of treatments and got off of it and then started eating steak again. And he was fine for about a year and a half, and then it came back stronger than ever. And he just can't shake it. It's been around that long. Oh, yeah. He can only eat eggs. I mean, he's basically eating eggs and vegetables. That's all he's eating. And every time he tries to deviate, he has a horrible reaction. It makes, for people that don't know, it makes your body allergic to red meat. Right. And who has got genetically made meat now? Yeah. Bill Gates. Bill Gates. Yeah. Well, they're doing things with mosquitoes, and they're messing around with nature in a way that no one's given you permission to. The general public does not want you doing this. If they could vote on it, they'd say, no way.
Wow. Got that lab grown meat for you.
Yep.
If you really want the taste of meat. I think Mr. Beast is actually selling it. We showed that on here on the show a few weeks back.
They say he's AI. He looks AI. No, he looks.
Yeah, he signed the deal with the Rothschilds. Mr. Beast called he's the new Bill Gates as he promotes. Check this out. He's the new Bill Gates as he promotes lab grown meat. Here it is. There we go. All right, Mr. Beast called the new Bill Gates as he promotes the lab-grown meat. Mr. Beast, he had the lab-grown chicken. Remember we showed that, the videos? Here's the Mr. Beast just gave lab-grown chicken his stamp of approval. That was February 2026. That's when we covered it. The future of food, basically cloned, a bunch of cloned animals we're going to be eating.
Yeah, that's what the lab grown meat is. They take cells from the animals and the petri dish, right? But they have to have it rapidly grow. So, like they said, what rapidly grows,
Right.
like cancer cells.
And so it's crazy. So yeah, they call him Mr. Beast because he really wants to help humanity. He's angelic.
Yeah.
He's called the new Bill Gates as he promotes meat produced without killing animals. From World Economic Forum links to Rockefeller funding. That's what he got. He just got the funding from Rockefeller, but he's the most watched and probably the richest YouTube channel on YouTube. Of course, Mr. Beast is #1 on YouTube.
Well, I think they propped up those numbers. I never even heard of them until
with the name
a couple years ago. Yeah,
Right.
the name. Yeah.
Of course, the Beast is #1 on YouTube. He says he doesn't have a whole lot of money. It's just a face.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
He actually has to borrow money to get something to eat.
That's most of these people. Zuckerberg, all them. Those are just the.
They don't have any money. They just like that jet. Somebody else is paying for all that shit.
Yeah, like who was it? Forget who it was in that movie star who said that they don't own the house, right?
Right.
They don't. No, it was a rapper. They don't own the house. They give them the house. They get to live in it, but they don't own it. They take it away too. Same thing with all the cars, right? And their pay is actually very, very small because then they have to pay all their managers, attorneys, all that stuff. So they hardly have any money left over. So it's an illusion that they're filthy rich.
Yeah.
And they're used. They're just used.
So Mr. Beast Burger is failing. Nobody wants that shit. Not real. That's meat 2.0 for you. Test tube meat.
Yeah.
To get a test tube ribeye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the McRib at McDonald's.
And Nana, she asked about the venison, squirrel, rabbit, and groundhog. See, I was wondering about those too. And fish. I was wondering about.
For what?
For the those things there, and then fish. They wouldn't be the. They couldn't do. Well, they probably could do the lab grown.
Oh no, I wouldn't. Fish would. I don't know. They can take any cells from any meat.
Yeah.
Right. The best thing is to catch your own. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
Raise your own.
Get your own fish, but.
Raise your own cows. Raise your own.
Yeah. Because you just never know.
Yeah. Or get somebody that you know
I
that
mean,
does.
they're supposed to label it now bioengineered. So if you see that on the label, that's what it is.
Just bite the bullet and go buy some beans, people. Get your protein from your beans.
Just don't eat too many.
Why?
It's not good for your. It's not good for your intestines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Gee whiz, everything's got something attached to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, think about it. Beans naturally cause a lot of bloating too, but you can minimize that by cooking. Like when you cook some beans, put a little baking soda in there. It helps release the gases from the beans, or when you let it soak. I mean, when you're soaking your beans, put a little baking soda, and then it helps release the gases, and then rinse them off, and then put clean water.
Johnson. It's Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. And today I'm talking about bioengineered food. While you've probably eaten bioengineered food because most Americans have. Now, you may have heard the term GMO, genetically modified organism, and in most conversations, GMO and bioengineered mean the same thing. But legally, bioengineered is a specific labeling term in the US, and not every genetically engineered product ends up requiring that label. So, what does it actually mean? In the United States, bioengineered food contains genetic material that was changed using modern laboratory techniques. And that change could not have happened through traditional breeding alone. That's it. That's the scientific definition, not a marketing term. Now, most bioengineered ingredients in our food supply come from a few major crops like corn, soybeans, canola, sugar beets. However, some varieties of apples, papaya, squash, potatoes, eggplant, pineapple, and even salmon have also been bioengineered. But you usually don't see them as whole foods. You see them as oils, corn syrup, starches, and processed ingredients. So, when did this start? Well, modern genetic engineering of foods began in the 1980s. And why was this done? Well, to help crops resist insects, tolerate certain herbicides, and survive drought or environmental stress, and also increase crop yield. Now, there are newer tools like CRISPR that now allow for more precise gene editing, and sometimes no foreign DNA remains in the final plant. Now, there are people who strongly oppose bioengineered crops for environmental, corporate, or ethical reasons, and those are important policy discussions. But today, I'm focusing strictly on the health science. Now, bioengineered does not automatically mean unhealthy. In part 2, my next video, we'll talk about what the evidence actually says about health risks for common conditions like cancer, diabetes, and obesity, because this conversation deserves facts. So before we label it as dangerous or dismiss it entirely, let's look at the data, because understanding the science helps us make better decisions. So please check out my next video part.
Yeah, that's Dr. Rhonda Johnson.
Right. No, yeah, they were talking about like the mRNA, right? It can do some good, but the problem is they can't get it to stop replicating, right? It keeps replicating and replicating and replicating. So they're working on something to stop that.
All right, here goes this link in the chat for Dr. Rhonda Johnson. Here it's in Rumble. There we go. Share that thing. All right, anything else we need to talk about? I think that's pretty much.
That's it. We're gonna
Covered a
go
lot.
over the Irish slaves tomorrow.
Friday?
Friday. We're gonna go over the Irish slaves. Supposedly, they were the first slaves in America.
I want my reparations.
Right.
Where's my reparations?
Well, you could get it from here and the country that sent you over here.
I want my reparations.
And it also has goes back to Lincoln too. Had a part of that too. They all participated in it, all of them. We all were enslaving each other.
Yeah.
It was like a big thing. I mean, so we can't really say anybody was specifically a slave because everyone was a slave or a slave owner in those at that time.
Of all ethnic backgrounds.
All. Every one of them. Every one of us are our ancestors.
And that's all. What else? Anything else? Let's see.
I put in the chat that New York is we're supposed to be getting snow. That's what they're saying.
I told you.
Oh my God.
I told you last week, girl.
We've had a lot of rain
So
here.
who you going? So now you believe me?
No, I
Last week you were like, "Oh well, it's a 62. It's 62. What are you saying?" I'm like, "You're fixing to get some snow
Right?
in
get
June.
some snow.
In June."
You'll have Christmas in July, Nadine.
So gee whiz. Yeah, I put if they on that news break thing, I put if they would stop using chemtrails to modify weather, this wouldn't happen. And I put the lines up there too.
Right.
Oh, look at me, my government loves me. Yeah, they'd love to see the back of you.
So, y'all, I wouldn't freak out. I think, honestly, I think all this was disclosure, right? I think
Yeah.
they've been giving us mRNA replicating in the vaccines, maybe. They've been releasing stuff bioengineered. They've been having drones. They had freaking insect drones. They had bird drones.
Do you remember that little bee that would I think it was Todd or Stu, somebody's niece or something had one of those little bees come up to their window?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
we've done that.
Amos.
Yeah.
Amos.
Amos,
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah, they've had that stuff. I mean, I think remember Nikola Tesla had an apartment up in New York, right? And he used pigeons as messengers. Were they pigeons or were they drones? Right.
Right.
You got to think about that. They've had that stuff for a long time.
Okay, your total comes to $525. Right there.
It was an IQ test.
I come over there? Yeah.
Look, he's gonna hand her the card. She don't even have gloves on.
That
She's
was
got
the
it.
stupidest
This was an.
thing.
That's what he's trying to show you.
Oh, and then we just come
This
in.
is what happens when you don't educate. And like Kristen said, we got to educate, be proactive,
Yes.
and not let this thing not become a victim of based on a lack of information.
That's right.
When we have it all at our fingertips.
So that's why it's important to
You don't
look into these things. Look at your natural remedies. Look for there's a herb for everything. There's natural things you can put on to avoid ticks. There's all sorts of stuff. We gotta do our due diligence to keep ourselves healthy, happy, proactive, and teach others. Right?
Each one, it's each one. Anything else? Anybody?
That's it.
Nadine?
What's the how did Porky Pig used to say? That's all. But it was
That's all, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for being with us tonight. And also, all the winners for the drawing, I still need y'all to contact me. Send me a DM so I can get an address to ship your products to.
That's awesome. Oh, and also, if you want a bracelet, if you want to customize that size of the bracelet, let me know. Just take a measurement from the center of your wrist to the center of your wrist, like wrap it center to center. Just give me a measurement.
Yeah, if you want it in close, if you just want it,
Because I don't have one size fits all.
right,
I do custom.
right. Or you can use it where you can squeeze it to fit.
Yeah, you can always squeeze it. All right, y'all have a great rest of your night. Sleep tight. Don't let them bed bugs bite.
Funny. Good night, everyone. Love y'all.
Good night.
Stop speaking. They say you can't wake anybody now. Too many blinders pulling people down. But every day the cracks begin to show, and deeper truths are rising from below. People feel it in the air they breathe. something shifting underneath the streets. Questions growing louder every day, while the headlines try to look away. No, this isn't fear we're bringing to the light. It's love enough to warm before the night. If I stay silent while the storm rolls through, then what kind of heart would I be showing you? We can't stop speaking, we can't look away. Too many signs are rising every day. The world keeps changing faster than we knew, and truth keeps breaking through the view. This ain't division, this is care enough to try to help each other see beyond the lies. Awareness is the flame we carry through, because real love tells the truth. Massive towers humming day and night, data centers glowing out of sight. Machines learning every move we make, tracking every breath and every wake. Power brokers buying up the land, APAC taking seats with hidden hands. Money moving faster than the law, while the people stand in shock and awe. Digital chains wrapped in shiny gold, trading freedom just to feel control. They build the systems higher every day, while slowly pushing human hearts away. But truth survives inside the ones who see, the few who still believe humanity. And even if they mock us when we speak, a seed of doubt is planted every week. We can't stop speaking, we can't look away. Too many signs are rising every day. The world keeps changing faster than we knew, and truth keeps breaking through the view. This ain't division, this is care enough to try to help each other see beyond the lies. Awareness is the flame we carry through, because real love tells the truth. No, I won't hate the ones who disagree, cause once I walked to sleep so easily, but now the veil is tearing thread by thread, and people finally question what they're fed. The future's hanging somewhere in between human souls and cold machine regimes. But if enough of us refuse to kneel, then maybe something human